All right, Mark Ruhindi, my apologies for coming to you a little late, but take us through what is in the mind of Uganda Revenue Authority when it comes to broadening the tax base, but most importantly, going for those particular sources of revenue or taxes that haven't been clear sources, and that's what Efris is trying to do.
Yeah, so you're asking a question that should have been answered by someone who works at the Uganda Revenue Authority.
You're a tax lawyer.
But I will.
Tax policy, tax policy is something that you can...
So the Ugandan market is graduating from a culture of informality.
Yeah.
We have had all these years where businessmen thrived on informality and cutting corners and really having to do without coming to consultants like me. Yes, but now, all right. Now it's a whole different ball game. The market has transitioned to a stage where you can't do business without consultants. You can't. If you try to do that, then it won't take more than 3 years before you take down the business, especially for the high turnover businesses. Okay. So for the longest time, businesses have grown from really tiny, humble beginnings to behemoths, without really having to pay tax. You have a businessman who goes down to Chikubo, sets up small, and
within a few years?
Within a few years, he's a millionaire, whatever. So that is what URA is targeting, and Chikubo is really central to this economy. Traders from as far as Bunia in Congo, Burundi, shop from Chikubo. So when you have these tax leakages from transactions like that, those high volume transactions being going undercover, being done, escaping the tax net, it has been a very big problem, and I think Efris is going to be a game changer from that perspective. So the attempt by government is to ensure that those tax leakages are mitigated. Like he has mentioned, the burden is not put on the few businesses that are already compliant. As more players are brought on board through Efris, and Efris will do that because for you to be able to do a certain category of transactions, you have to do them through Efris. So for you to be able to grow, if you're running a tiny business, for you to be able to grow it into a large business, you can't do it without onboarding onto the Efris system. So it's targeting. The Efris the system is set in such a way that, first of all, if you don't use it, you're penalized from a commercial angle. You cannot grow a business if you don't run your affairs. If you don't comply, you can't grow. That's the key. That's the key aspect of enforcement of Efris. Then the other thing is, from a penal perspective, if you cannot comply, you're penalized. I think it's 6 million as penal tax. As penal tax for not complying under Efris, and you know, penal tax is collected just as substantive tax is. They collect penal tax just like the substantive tax that on which the penal tax is being levied. So the moment businessmen fail to recognize that compliance with Efris is now, there is no debate about it. Okay, you must do it. The earlier they make that determination, the earlier they face the reality. Exactly. The earlier they come to terms with that reality, the better for the economy and for them.
All right. Now that calls on the Uganda Revenue Authority to rethink its design Okay, the design might not be completely overhauled, but implementation and execution, so that there is fairness, but most importantly, educating. Now, that's a whole big budget on its own that falls on Uganda Revenue Authority that is already looking for money to be able to do other things.
I think educating, the URA has been doing tax education for the longest time. Efris,
why has it failed?
No, it hasn't failed. Huh? It hasn't failed. It's continuous.
Let me intervene. Their tax education is flawed. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
It's flawed because, you see, it's like saying that a person who makes coffins should go and sensitize people on how to stay healthy. Understand?
Let's say that again.
A person whose business is to sell coffins has no business telling people to stay healthy
because he'll be out of business.
He'll be out of business. So URA's task.
Mr. Walgam, taxation, and I'm speaking from a perspective of someone who understands taxation.
Please.
I have read taxation, I have practicing taxation. Taxation is very, very complex.
Complicated.
Lawyers run off from taxation because of its complexity, and lawyers are some of the smartest people.
But it shouldn't be. That's the whole point. Because if you bring a sophisticated tax system,
you see,
to small businesses,
if you're trying
that's why we are not expanding the tax base, because you have brought this elitism. And we are trying to say it's complicated.
No.
Understood by accountants.
I had not finished my submission.
Please.
Taxation is complex.
Yeah.
And the reason why taxation is complex really is because we don't want to pay tax. If there is a law,
that's an assumption.
When there is a law, generally, when there is a law that is trying to levy tax, I will try to fight it. You will come to me to find loopholes, to do tax planning, to fight it.
As a tax lawyer.
Now, from my perspective, from my work as a tax lawyer, I will advise on how you can avoid paying that tax. Now, it is up to the government to come up with another layer
of laws to cover it.
To cover me.
To help itself from the likes of Rohini and the client.
Exactly. And now I will go back and look through that new law and cover new loopholes. And then, so that cycle, that's why taxation is very complex. Because you the government cannot come to you and say pay tax.
So
if it were to be simple, my brother would have no
But Chris,
government would not
Chris, I cannot. This is a